Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pastor Bruce. Welcome to amvoice.net, One Man's Voice. Today I want to talk to you about a Vanity Fair article. Actually, it was a little 63-second video on Hillary Clinton and what a parody on her. It was a joke about her, which caused the liberals in our country to go up in arms. How could you dare do this? How could you set up Hillary Clinton with such disdain over her illustrious career? And I'm sitting there going, this is absolutely a joke. It really is. Okay? Hillary Clinton has no clue, nor do the people around them have any clue. But let's talk about her illustrious career. You see, she became a lawyer. Okay, fine. So were thousands upon thousands of other people lawyers. What makes her so special? Well, she was the first lady. She was the first lady because Bill Clinton was the president of the United States. What makes her so successful? Because she's carrying on the coattails of her husband? Well, she became senator of New York. She became senator of New York because they wanted to prep her for being president of the United States. And they picked New York because that had the largest population of Democrats that would vote for her, rather than Arkansas, where she belongs. And she spent 8 years in the Senate and did absolutely nothing. So what's so illustrious about that career? And she became Secretary of State. Well, only because she lost the election to Barack Obama. She withdrew her nomination for the presidency. Why? Because of Barack Obama was going to destroy her. So let's save face for her. And by the way, since you were gracious enough to drop out, President Obama gave her Secretary of the State. Her illustrious career, everything was handed to her on a silver platter. That's not a career. Did she work for it? No, she didn't work for it. It was given to her. It was given to her to try to make her something more than what she really was. What is that, the Peter Principle? Promote to the position of incompetence? And that's what happened with the Secretary of State. Benghazi's a prime example. She lies to the American people. She lied to Congress. She's lied all through her life because people have been handing everything to her on a silver platter. So all of you ignorant liberals out there that think that she is God's gift to this world, you need to open your eyes. There was one comment afterwards that said something to the effect, 60 million plus 3 more million voted for her. Well, yeah, because you have to understand a lot of those were millennials who have been dumbed down over the course of years. A lot of them, not the majority, but a lot of black people, because they have been handed their welfare checks, their food stamps, their low-income housing. They're given money to go out and protest for the Democratic Party. They support the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party is keeping them slaves. And, hey, as long as we're taking care of you, take care of us. So, yeah, ignorance, lack of education in the black community and in the Hispanic community caused them to vote for the Democratic Party. And that's what you see with the mainstream media. They want to keep up the attack. They want to say, look at how good the Democrats are, and by attacking the Republicans continuously. And that's her mission, to destroy the Republican Party. Why? Because the nation destroyed her. Such an illustrious career. Then she wouldn't have to go out there and call half of the population of America deplorables because they supported Donald Trump. And think about this. The supporters of Donald Trump, 60 million people, she called them deplorables, half of the votes in this country. Would you vote for her if you were considered to be a deplorable? And how about all you Catholics out there that voted for her? When her aides came out and said the Catholics are going to have to get on board with us and believe in what we believe in. Really? And you vote for her? Come on. And when she denied Black Lives Matter, you really want to vote for her, blacks in this country? And when she sat there and said, we're shutting down the coal mines and putting those people out to work. Those are blacks and whites down there. And she's putting them out to work. That's how much she cares about you. So since she lost, let's do something strange. Let's do something that's never been done before. Let's get out there, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and look the American people in the face and say, we are going to be obstructionists. We're not going to do anything that Donald Trump wants. We're not going to pass anything that Donald Trump wants. We refuse to work with the President of the United States. Now, Democrats, that's your party. So when your paychecks go up, and since a lot of you elderlies have 401ks since they've been going up, you really think the Democrats are out there for you? They wanted higher taxes. They only wanted a 1% GDP growth, where we're doing over 3%. Not for 1 month, but for several months. We've had a 3% growth in this country. The economics of President Donald Trump are working. And because they're working, it's making it better for everybody in this country. One way or another. Are some people going to pay higher taxes later on down the road? Probably so. But we'll have the money to pay, won't we? We'll have the jobs, won't we? Because the jobs are coming back. 1 million jobs since he's taken over. 1 million jobs have been created in this country since he's been taken over. That's not what Hillary wanted. Hillary wanted to fire the coal miners and stop it. They didn't want the ANWA going through. So there's the jobs there. And the pipeline, they didn't want that. There's jobs there. We don't want these jobs. We don't care about the American people. We don't care if you starve. We don't care if you're homeless. Because we are the powerful Democratic Party with our Queen Hillary standing up for us. And we are going to attack the American people because you refuse to hire Queen Hillary as President of the United States. Keep it up, liberals. Keep it up, Democrats. I love it because the more you are outraged at what's going on, and the more that President Trump is doing to make this country better than what it was under a Democratic-controlled Congress and a Democratic president, once we see the truth coming out there, the people are going to turn against the Democrats. And I hope they do. Because if they're smart enough to open up onlines like my amvoice.net and listen to what's going on, if they're willing to open up and read the things that are going on with the Democratic Party and the national news media, which is controlled by the Democratic Party, just like the DNC was controlled by Hillary Clinton. And she still lost. She still lost. And the comment about Bernie Sanders, well, he's not really a Democrat. He's a socialist, so don't worry about him. That's the Democrats for you. Now, listen, I attack a lot of you older Democrats. Remember the Kennedy era. And a lot of you olders might have voted for Kennedy, and that was great. My father was a Kennedy Democrat. But after Kennedy was assassinated, the Democratic Party started to go downhill. Liberals started to move in and take over. The demand for liberalism in this country, socialism in this country, the demand to do away with the capitalist system that we have in this country that has made this country greater than any other country in the world today. They want to do away with it because they hate it. They hate the idea that common people can become rich. Really? I mean, let's go back to the lords and the ladies of Europe and how the lords and ladies had everybody under them. That's what Hollywood wants. That's what the liberal rich want in this country. They want to be the lords and the ladies of the country while everybody bows down to them and heeds to them, saying, "Oh, glorious you, glorious you," while they go out there and they create all sorts of havoc. Now, you have to go back years ago. There was a book written about the 7 circles of hell, Dante's Inferno. And if you look at Dante's Inferno and look at the rich, what they're doing, drug abuse, and they're getting away with it. Alcohol, they're getting away with it. Sexual assault, they're getting away with it. Why? Because they're the power. They're the rich. We're the lords and ladies of America, and you will bow down to us, and you will do what we tell you to do, or you will suffer our wrath. Right, Hillary? Queen Hillary. All right? Sad time in our society when you have people like that. And so this little comedy routine, 6 New Year resolutions for Hillary Clinton. It's a funny thing. What happened is her book. The follow-up, what the hell happened? Okay? Take F out of your phone so you don't form exploratory committees for 2020. I mean, if she thinks she's going to run for 2020 and win the presidential nomination, she's sadly mistaken. She really is. She's over the hill. She's gone. She'll be in her 70s. Okay? No, we don't need her anymore. And I hate to tell you, Vanity Fair is a liberal magazine. So who's making fun of her? Oh, liberals! That's right. So understand the problems that are going on here. You can make fun of everybody you want, but you can't make fun of Queen Hillary. Oh, and her sidekick. Okay. Don't forget her sidekick. I mentioned her a couple of days ago. Rosie O'Donnell. She's another one. She can curse and use profanity on the Twitter account. And, oh, it's okay. It's okay. You know, because, listen, and let's be honest about this, okay? Yes, she is a female. Yes, she is a lesbian. Can you imagine the outrage that would occur if you shut off her Twitter account? The LGBT community would be up in arms saying, you don't want to listen to a lesbian woman. And the national organization would be up in arms saying, you don't want to have a woman's voice out there. So they're not going. They're cowards, basically, is what Twitter is. She violated the code of conduct for tweet, and she's getting away with it because they're afraid of the LGBT community and the National Organization of Women. You see who runs this country? It's not the majority people, it's the minority. The LGBT community is maybe 10% of the society. 330 million, that's not an awful lot. Okay? And the National Organization of Women does not represent all women. It only represents a portion of the women and only those who are liberals. Conservative women should not be a part of the National Organization of Women. Republican women should not be. From what I understand in some of the studies that I've done and some of the shows that I've watched, the National Organization of Women has been organized by and run by lesbians ever since its start. And in one talk show where they had conservative women going up against members of the LGBT community, the president says, I know what I'm talking about because I'm a lesbian and I can tell you from that point of view. I'm like, well, if you're a lesbian, why are you trying to gather all sorts of people who want to love their husbands? That's absolutely stupid because lesbians hate women. And we see this with the attack by Rosie O'Donnell on President Trump and on this news commentator that made a comment about her jokingly, and she went on a tirade against him. See, as long as you're part of the minority groups out there, that you think you have a right to say and do whatever you want, and everybody else has got to shut up, and they can't say or do anything against you. This is sad. It really is. It's pathetic. But, hey, here are the liberals attacking Vanity Fair because of these New Year's resolutions for Hillary Clinton. And if you get a chance to go on, it's called New Year Resolutions for Hillary Clinton. Look it up on YouTube. Go into Vanity Fair. Look it up in Vanity Fair and listen. It's a joke, okay? This is a woman who's over the hill. She's gone. She's never earned anything. And the last point here about earning, okay? She's such a prominent figure in our society, which everything was handed to her on a silver platter. Because being the president's wife, they made her senator because being a senator, she was running for president. She lost out on the presidency, so they gave her the Secretary of State. She ran for president again, and she lost again. She is incompetent. She is not a strong, dominating woman. She is a spoiled brat who's had everything handed to her whole life from the time she married Bill Clinton on. And if you go back, millennials, and study Bill Clinton's time period, you'll find out that there are a lot of questions about the billing practices of her law firm and how she was corrupt even back then in the 90s. You just don't get it because you're too young and you're listening to the Democratic-controlled media lie about her, to putting her on a pedestal, saying that she's so good and honest and decent and all this other crap, and attacking the good, honest, decent people on the Republican side. And they're continuing to do it. And you millennials better start waking up and understanding the truth. Start getting tired of listening to the negativity. And the point about Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, they're sitting there saying his numbers are tanked. They're so low. When you have CNN attacking him with 90% of their news commentary on him is negative, when all of the other mainstream media has nothing but negativity about him, what is the American people going to think? What are they going to think? Well, he's a bad president. But he's not, because they're not telling you of all of the good accomplishments that he's done. And for you millennials that have started your 401ks, take a look at them. Take a look how, if you've been in there for 5 or 6 years, 7 years, take a look at how they've grown lately. That's President Donald Trump. But the news media will not tell you that 401ks are growing. They will not tell you that under the new tax plan, 90% of middle class and low wage income people are going to be better off. They're not going to tell you that, because if they do, then everything that the Democratic Party has tried to do to destroy this country will come to light, and you'll never vote for Democrats again. Plain and simple. Donald Trump has accomplished a lot. I hated the idea of telling my customers as a tax prep that because you don't want insurance, you have to pay a fine. They're being fined because they chose not to have health insurance coverage. So now Bernie Sanders and the Democrats are saying, 30 million people are going to be without coverage. Well, they were without coverage anyway because they refused to sign up for it. And they're sitting there saying, well, look how good it was. Back when in January the following year, after Obamacare started, they said, look, we have 7 million people signed up for Obamacare. But think about this. There were 30 million people without health care insurance. 30 million. And they're sitting there going on and on about how great the system is because 7 million people signed up for it. What they didn't tell you in the mainstream media, if you didn't listen to other forms of media, is that 5 million people were denied coverage because it didn't meet the minimum standard of Obamacare. And their coverage was canceled. And therefore, they had to go back in and get insurance again. So literally, only 2 million people of those 30 million signed up for Obamacare. Now, let's cut that down. How many millennials, I don't know the number, how many, not millennials, but how many of the baby boomer era signed up for Medicare at that time? Because that reduced the number of people without insurance and gave towards the 7 million. So literally, people, no one signed up for the Obamacare plan. And because of that, the hospitals and the they're pulling out because they're not making any money. They really aren't. And they're not going to tell you how many people signed up and never made a payment towards it. Oh, we'll sign up so we don't have to pay the fine, and never made payment. And I've had some people come through to do their taxes that they're being fined hundreds of dollars for not having insurance. So, hey, the Obamacare plan sucked to begin with. We said that back there when they were promoting it. Nancy Pelosi, affordable, affordable, affordable. No, it wasn't. It might have been at that particular point in time, but when you read into the Obamacare plan, you understood premiums are going to go skyrocketing, and they have. Arizona, where I live, I think they went up 125% from the onset of Obamacare. So getting rid of that mandate, forcing you to pay a fine because you don't want to be insured, is a good thing for you millennials. You want health care insurance? I wrote the president, I gave him a plan of how everybody can be insured and how the government can take care of those who don't have the capability of taking care of themselves. But everybody else can afford to get into the health care plan. And in the short term, it's going to cost. In the long term, when you take a child of 1 year old, by the time they hit 50, if they're not going to doctor visits and then if they're not going to hospitals and having operations, when they hit 50, they'll have enough money in their health insurance account, they never have to pay for health insurance again. That's the long term. And it can work if you're willing to do it. But you see, the government, even the Republicans, don't get me wrong, the Republicans want to keep the taxes because they can then use the tax any way they want. And what happens when government, and again, the government is nothing but a bunch of greedy, self-centered, egotistical lawyers who think they can do whatever they want to do. Okay? And one of the senators about 6 years ago sat there on the news and said, well, the people think the Social Security is their money. It's not. It's the government's. Hello? You know why they say that? Because it's a tax. Social Security tax. But look at the foundation of the program. It is the Social Security Annuity Fund. It's a fund for us to put money in for our retirement. But yet the federal government decides to hit it for everything else. And because it hits for everything else, it's running out of money. People don't have money available. They're saying 2030, it's going to be gone. Well, yeah, it's going to be gone if you keep taking money out for other than retirement programs. So there has to be something done to make changes. And insurance companies can work with that. Again, from an accountant's point of view, you have to save the principal and spend the interest. And what the companies do, insurance companies do, is they spend all the money that they get in and the profits they give off to their stockholders. So literally, there's no money at the end of the year, and they've got to start all over again. And we have to raise salaries, and we have the cost of this is going up, and the cost of that is going up. So what happens? The cost of your insurance goes up, and that is absolutely ridiculous. If you're listening to this and you believe in it, call your congressman and say, no more taxes in healthcare. Get rid of healthcare from government control and put it back into the company's control. And if you're going to do anything with healthcare, monitor the cost so that these doctors and hospitals don't charge outrageous prices in order to fill the pockets of the stockholders who own stock in the hospitals and the doctors. So when you look at the overall picture, ladies and gentlemen, Hillary is a failure. She's always been a failure. She's only sat on the coattails of her husband and on the coattails of Obama. It's the only reason she got where she got today. She did nothing as a senator. She let the people of the North down, northern New York down. Said we're going to create 200,000 new jobs, and literally companies left northern New York under her senatorship. So she's a failure. And I don't say that about a lot of women, but she's a failure. And it's a good thing she didn't win the presidency. And I don't care if you're a liberal, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, get over yourself. Failures, the only way they can get ahead is by cheating, by lying, and by stealing, and that's exactly what she did. Hey, this is One Man's Voice, One Man's Opinion. I thank you for listening. God bless. Have yourself a great day.